Where are you going? Where are you going?
We're unimpressive in that arc. Unimpressive.
Listen, the Mihawk fans, that's him. You see what I'm dealing with. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Showdown. I'm your host, Rob, and to the right of me is...
What's good, y'all? Anime Sundays here. Glad to be here.
Listen, we are ranking the top 10 strongest characters in One Piece current, though. They have to be alive. And the only character that we are leaving out is Im. There's going to be manga spoilers. Let's jump right into it. Who do you have at number 10?
All right, at number 10, I have Ben Beckman.
Interesting.
Vice captain of the red-haired pirates. We gotta imagine, even though we haven't seen much from Shanks' crew, he's still one of the top vice captains, top pirates in general out right now. We know he had Kizaru shook at the war.
For a moment.
It was a very brief. It was a very brief moment,
Right.
and we do like to say Kizaru's lackadaisical. But again, I think just in general, the fact that the Shanks pirates could pull up and have that much presence means something.
At number 10, I'm going with the Dark King Silver's Rayleigh, y'all. Even though he is outside of his prime, none of that matters to me because we know that Kaido has spoken about the importance of haki and who is one of the greatest haki users we have ever seen. That would happen to be Silver's Rayleigh. He trained Luffy, and now Luffy is a serious contender, which we will get to later. We know that he's a master of all three forms of haki, and we know that he has to have elite conquerors haki to be boxing against some elite opponents that we've seen him box against. Rayleigh's at 10.
At number 9, I'm gonna go with Dracul Mihawk.
Wow.
Dracul Mihawk. I mean, Zoro would not have got to this level in the manga, being able to take out King, starting to handle an Enma and figure out how to adjust his conquerors or his advanced Rio into his attacks without a Mihawk. We know that the government took away his warlord title, and how's Mihawk dealing with it? He's ready. Of course, we talk about the old feat of Shanks, right? You know, he boxed with Shanks, but it's still very, very back in the day. A lot has changed.
Listen, the Mihawk fans, that's him. All right,
Listen,
leave me out of that.
I don't have Mihawk.
Mihawk, y'all gonna say he lowballed Mihawk?
Listen,
leave me out of that.
A lot of you gonna say, oh, you think Mihawk is over the admirals? He should be in the Yonko conversation. I personally think that there is a point to where strength will not allow you to just deter to the forces of the world. For example,
so what are you saying, Jared?
Why did Mihawk become a warlord? Because I feel like at the end of the day, he did not want to really do it with a Akainu.
Ooh! Let me take up for the Mihawk fans right now before we get any further. The Mihawk fans out there will tell you, well, Jared, he travels solo, so he just wanted to be left alone. He did not want to deal with the Marines. What do you say to that?
I'm gonna say, like I said before, it only becomes to where's your pride as a pirate? You know what I'm trying to say? You are one of the top known fighters in the pirate world, and you're conforming to Akainu and his, you know, merry bands of police officers just because it's the easy way?
One thing I will say is in a previous video, I spoke on how I feel like the Marines do not have the same respect for Mihawk than they do of a Shanks. Now, obviously, this does not mean that Mihawk versus Shanks, whatever you believe. I just think that the Marines lack the respect for Mihawk, and that's very telling from something, at least. At number 9, I happen to go with the current fleet admiral. I'm going with Akainu. Are you kidding me? I have to take him. I do believe that because he is the fleet admiral now, he is a Yonko level opponent. That's where I have him at currently. Obviously, the magma devil fruit, we've seen it. It burns even hotter than Ace's flame fruit, and we've seen what Ace's flame fruit looks like when it's in the hands of not only Ace but a Sabo. Akainu has been able to overpower that. We know that he's a top tier Logia. He did survive a direct attack from Whitebeard, which not many people walking in the One Piece world today can say they have survived against. This is what Akainu can do. He's durable, and I have to just assume that he got stronger. So I'm going to put him at number 9.
Number 8, I have the Dark King, Silver's Rayleigh.
Okay.
I have the Dark King. I mean, like you mentioned, I have him over a Mihawk. Probably got Odin's bars up. He probably got like a lot of people on Roger's crew up to par. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know that when it comes to understanding haki and really putting in that work towards advancing people beyond their boundaries, Rayleigh's the guy. And of course, if you can teach it, you probably can do it.
Yes, Rayleigh is absolutely a top 10 character. Now, over Mihawk, I have questions because he's out of his prime. But as a haki user and everything, I can definitely agree
I
there.
hear you.
At number 8, I am going with Monkey D. Garp. I'm going with the grandfather of Monkey D. Luffy and the father of Monkey D. Dragon. Are you kidding me? Yes, I am going with Garp because we heard what Kaido had to say about the importance of haki users. And when we're talking about opponents that Garp has dealt with in his prime, a lot of these opponents happen to be in Kaido's Fab 5, y'all. In his Fab 5. This is who Kaido respects as top tier haki users, as top tier opponents in the One Piece verse. And Garp has battled against somebody like a Roger. He's battled against somebody like a Rox. He's battled against somebody like a Whitebeard and Shiki and all these things. So his experience clearly tells the story. That's his resume alone. And we know that he boxed with even a Don Chinjao, pushed his head in. Don Chinjao's head was able to destroy mountains. And this is what Garp did. And he made it look easy. Armament haki is there. Listen, I've spoken on this before and I'll say it again. Sengoku stopped Garp from attacking Akainu. Yes, he did not want any infighting going on with the Marines, but listen, there's no way we can really tell for sure that Sengoku wasn't just looking out for Akainu and wanted to make sure that Garp didn't take him out.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't have Garp on this list.
Garp is not top 10?
Garp is not on this list. See, and what my take is, Sengoku stopped Garp from messing with Akainu for Garp's sake, okay?
Let me get this straight.
Listen.
Somebody that was boxing against Rox and Roger.
Listen.
He's trying to protect him from Akainu?
Here's when we look at the gap between the top pirates of the world and the top Marines of the world when Roger and Garp were out. We have so many other pirates ahead of Garp, especially not the Akainu who was taking Whitebeard blows, handling the speed hand to hand.
That's great, but you have to understand that Garp knows of Whitebeard's power level. So does Sengoku. He's the one that was boxing with Garp back in the day. So he knows how powerful Garp is, and he stopped Garp from interfering with what Akainu was doing. So this is somebody that I believe Sengoku, after having boxed with Garp in his heyday, in his prime, with so many top tier opponents, the fact that he stopped Garp from attacking Akainu, I believe that was for Akainu's sake. He was trying to protect him.
But you see, the same reason I don't have Garp on my top 10 is the same reason I don't have Sengoku on my top 10. I don't think that they are still in the running anymore with the current level of characters that are going on.
I agree with Sengoku.
And I don't think that the older Marines are hanging with their younger counterparts anymore.
This is ridiculous, y'all. Go to number 7. Go to number 7.
Number 7. I have Akainu.
You see what I'm dealing with, y'all? You see what I'm dealing with?
I have Akainu right over Old Rayleigh.
Okay with that.
And now
I have that too.
I now have a little bit more fondness for the top admirals now because of how they've been so willing to want to pull up Tawano and how they've been handling all the other pirates under them, that I feel like the admirals are showing that they are still in the Yonko conversation, but just a little step under. So I think Akainu being the top one, if it's come down to neck and neck, Rayleigh, you got the experience, but will your age not hold you back? Is it gonna catch up with you? I think it will. At
number 7, I have the very own Charlotte Linlin, Big Mom coming in. Listen, Big Mom had a terrible showing in Wano for me. Clearly, even though she showed us top tier durability, there's things that I have questions about. Now, we have to give her some points here, right? She was able to force Kid and Law to go into Devil Fruit Awakening. She forced them to do that in order to defeat her. But then again, there's a lot of issues I have with Big Mom because Big Mom should be putting on a show. I will say this. Hera is a much better asset to Big Mom than Zeus.
Absolutely.
And we learned for the first time that Big Mom was able to heal herself with her devil fruit. So that's very critical as well. But when Kaido thought of his Fab 5, Big Mom's face was not there. That is the biggest sign I needed to see to show me that Big Mom is not where we need her to be right now. And I think that we need to see the Devil Fruit Awakening. Big Mom disrespect. Did you not see what Law did to Big Mom on her way out? Silencing her.
I think Law and Kid were unimpressive in that arc. Unimpressive. Yes.
Unimpressive.
I was unimpressed.
Unimpressed.
Now here, y'all know me. I've always been hard on Law. You know why I'm hard on Law? Because I think Law literally has the top 3 devil fruits in the entire One Piece verse. Sure. Okay? And if you're gonna be top 3 devil fruits in the entire verse, you should be soloing Big Mom.
Soloing Big Mom?
That's right.
Are you kidding? You got to look at the worst generation now, Jared. I mean, where do you have Law ranking in the worst generation? Because we know Luffy is number 1.
Well, you know, I have Law 2. I have Law 2.
Law is at number 2 in the worst generation, and you're not impressed by what he was able to.
I mean, the worst generation are, you know, they're doing their thing, but Luffy is the only one that's been impressive. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry, kid. You're about to get packed up, because here's my thing. If Luffy is over here using his rubber fruit, which of course we know now, manga, it's not necessarily that. If Luffy is doing all this, Law and Kid could possibly have the better fruit. And for the fact that it took 2 of y'all to awaken and Jumper, and you had to exit her out of the arena.
Listen.
You couldn't even put her down in the dirt.
Listen.
That's not a W to me. If we were on solid land, guess what? Big Mom would have packed both of them. For me, I was more impressed with Big Mom in her fight with Law and Kid than Law and Kid with her.
First of all, I'm not even going to acknowledge that you said that Kid and Law's fruit, especially Kid's fruit, should be in the realm of a sun god Nika.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you look at Luffy's fruit before we found out the truth, he wasn't supposed to get this far with this paramecia. Kid having the ability to control metal? You should be flying around the new world.
He had a railgun that pushed Big Mom out of Onigashima. What more do you want?
Pushed. Oops, excuse me. My bad.
This is crazy now. This is crazy.
All I'm saying is I love to see.
I think Law looks ridiculous. Obviously, I think Law is better than Kid, and so do you.
Yes.
But I was definitely impressed with what Law was able to do. They're dealing with a Yonko right now.
I'll say great job in reaching your new heights. But none of y'all really, they didn't really path up Big Mom to me. Number 6. Woo! I have Marshall DTH.
Okay, wow. All right, I'm with you. I have Blackbeard at number 6 as well.
Okay.
Yes, the Gurgur no Mi, the Yami Yami no Mi, absolutely.
I will say I don't have Blackbeard any higher because we don't know Blackbeard's haki situation.
That's the main thing. What's his haki looking like? Kaido spoke on that. How important haki matters to the top tier characters in One Piece. What is Blackbeard's haki looking like? None of you guys watching can tell me. Nobody knows just yet. And once we get to see his haki really being used, then we can really start to dive in. But at least we know the payback war was a big issue. Because listen, you have people like Marco, you have people like Flower Blade Visa who happened to box with a Mihawk in the Marineford War. You have people like Diamond Joseph who's able to take one of Mihawk's attacks and throw it into the sky.
And that's kind of why I have Mihawk a little lower, because I feel like if you're still kind of hanging with second in commands, I'm like, Mihawk, hey, come on, I have Dragon at number 5.
At number 5.
That's right. And that's really just more because, you know me, if I don't see you fight, I can't just give you the benefit of the doubt.
You've seen what Sabo was able to do, right?
You know how I feel about Sabo. He's great, but Sabo also lost in the battle against the Marines. That's why he's either captured or about to be executed or whatever they said. He lost in a battle to Fujitora. As soon as I see some real haki feast from Dragon, I'll change my answer.
At number 5, I have Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy is now Joy Boy. We understand this, but his Gear 5 form is looking absolutely ridiculous, y'all. Luffy is grabbing lightning. He is running on air. His fist is literally going through the heavens, and it's looking like the fist is the same size as Onigashima. This is what Luffy has been able to accomplish in this Gear 5 form. We know it does take a lot out of him, which is the only drawback that I've seen of this ability thus far. But the fact that he can manipulate the opponents and turn them into rubber. He can have the ground rip up. He was blocking Kaido's blast breath attack with the ground, literally using Kaido as a jump rope, people. He was jump roping with Kaido. Top 5. What do you have at number 4? Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lin is number 4 on this list.
Absolutely crazy. Kaido doesn't even have her in his top 5.
I don't care about what Kaido has because Kaido's about to lose, number 1. Number 2, Charlotte Linlin to me is the only one who is just like, y'all are really light work right now. If it wasn't for the fact that y'all have abilities, I would have packed up most of y'all. If y'all weren't running, hiding, plotting with every pirate in the sea, I would, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Charlotte Linlin is given all this doubt and hate because everybody has been trying to make an example of her. They're trying to be like, oh, if we can get Big Mom, then boom, we're securing our spot. But the fact of the matter is, no one really has got Big Mom in terms of defeating her. They all had to take the cheese route.
Jared, you have to understand something though. Big Mom has done this to herself. First of all, she wanted Fishman Island. Notice how she did not deal with Fishman Island until Whitebeard passed away.
I mean, why would she? It's Whitebeard. I feel like there's more of the fact.
Kaido's not like that. Kaido was on his way to Marineford.
I think Kaido was confident that he could beat old Whitebeard too. That's why I think
Big Mom didn't believe so, or she would have tried to acquire Fishman Island. Clearly.
Right. Nobody has really successfully took Big Mom down, and she has still not shown her full powers. So for me, Law and Kid pushed her out of a room. I'm sorry, she's unstoppable. Unstoppable. Even though Jinbei said, hold on guys, you guys go, I'll get back. It still made it to Wano. At number 4, I have Monkey D. Dragon. I have the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Listen, he is the world's most wanted man. I don't know what more you needed to hear, but that's all I need to hear. Looking at Sabo, we can see somewhat of a reflection. We know that Sabo has top tier fisherman karate, which I like to call a poor man's haki. On top of that, he also has great armament haki, and he also just acquired Ace Dofu. When I'm looking at Sabo boxing against admirals and these things, it's just something that's showing me that, look, Dragon has to be an even greater version of this. I believe that he can keep up with some of the best of the Yonko. I just don't know to what degree. So I have him at number 4. Again, I gotta see more from Dragon. Yeah. But I also think,
I mean, there's potential for Dragon to be the most powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's potential. We just have to.
I can see it. I just think it's I think they gave him the title because Dragon is the biggest pain in their behind.
Who do you have at number 3?
I have red-haired Shanks.
Okay.
Film Red. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I have red-haired Shanks. He stopped Kaido from going to Marineford.
Yep.
At first, and then pulled up to Marineford himself. Everybody's afraid of this guy.
Yes, everybody.
There are some other feats where you're like, well, how did Blackbeard scar him? I mean, the One Piece world, there's avenues to get your hits in. Kaido's been scarred by Odin. It doesn't necessarily mean everybody, is stronger than him. Like, you know what I'm saying? When people say it's Blackbeard stronger than Shanks. No, I don't think so.
But at number 3, I'm going with Kaido. I'm going with the strongest beast in the world. Where are you going? Where are you going?
Strongest beast.
The strongest beast in the world is
now.
number 3. Absolutely. There's people that were in Kaido's Fab 5 that happen to still walk the earth in the One Piece world today. I respect Kaido, and I think that his durability is insane. Obviously, he dropped from the sky to try to take himself out. Didn't even feel it. Had Kid in jail, had Luffy in jail, had Hawkins pledging allegiance to him, having a pool switch sides. I mean, all of these things. This is what Kaido did. He is the worst generation's worst nightmare. That's what I call Kaido. But at the end of the day, even though he was boxing against a Gear 5 Luffy while holding up Onigashima and all of these things, he said it best. Haki matters. And I do think that Kaido, although he's incredibly powerful, I do think that there are better haki users than Kaido, which is why I have him at 3.
I don't think there's anybody out right now who is taking on all the worst gen, beating Luffy 3 times, 3 times, still keeping the island afloat, and then now hanging with Gear 5 Luffy on a level where he is just adapting just as fast as Luffy is.
We'll get to that. And number 2, who do you have?
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, man.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Monkey D. Luffy is the number 2 of the verse right now.
You have Luffy at number 2 already?
Yes, I said it.
Already.
I think the limits of Gear 5 aren't. There are none. There are limits, but I think
it draws a lot of energy out of
it. But
him,
I think
there's a time limit.
I look at it like this: there's no form that Luffy has successfully brought out, and then the next time he did it, he didn't have it under control, if not better. So for me, the way Luffy is progressing right now, the possibilities are endless. Only reason I don't have him top 1 right now is because he didn't one-shot Kaido. Luffy is breaking all the rules of One Piece. Conquerors isn't working. Rio's not working. The man is not only turning you into rubber, he is doing things that are outside of just regular physical ability.
Luffy's Devil Fruit Gear 5 is insane. Everything you said is completely correct. But Kaido still is walking, breathing, and telling Luffy, I like your Devil Fruit. It looks cool. It looks ridiculous. but what's the haki looking like though?
Yeah.
And for Kaido to say that, for Kaido to question what Luffy's haki is looking like, even though Luffy has advanced conquerors with future sight and all of that, and Kaido's still saying, what's your haki looking like? That to me says Luffy is not there yet. He's close, but he's not there.
I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, and this is why I think you have Kaido too low.
At number 2, I have Dracul Mihawk. I have Mihawk. I have the world's strongest swordsman. I believe that Mihawk, being the world's strongest swordsman, you spoke on how powerful Zoro was looking now. But the fact that Mihawk has been traveling solo, the fact that he wields the black blade, the fact that Odin was one of the people that was in Kaido's Fab Five, and I believe Mihawk has surpassed him in power. That's where I have Mihawk at right now. I believe the real world haki that we've seen from Mihawk, just a little demonstration in the Marineford War with the little sword slash Diamond Josu. He had to put his all into that just to block it. There's things that Mihawk has done that have me thinking, when you're talking about haki, if Mihawk is the best swordsman, I do have to put him into the best haki user category because he was keeping up with somebody in Kaido's Fab Five.
If Kaido was in that war, boxing, Vista, and all these other cats, they're going to sleep quick.
Absolutely.
Quick. We look at what Odin has accomplished himself. Traveled the world with Roger, fought strong pirates with Roger, trained with Rayleigh, damaged Kaido, burned alive and held the 12 Akaza up until they died. Mihawk can do that. Mihawk
wields the black blade. His blade is way beyond that of an Enma and everything that Odin had to wield to cut Kaido.
Do we know that's a fact?
Do we know that the black blade is not incredibly supreme?
Do we know
grade?
that
Why are we questioning Mihawk's
Because we haven't
blade?
seen Zoro hold the black blade. We've seen Zoro hold Enma. We haven't seen the black blade do anything.
Zoro's not ready for the black blade.
He survived a cut from it.
Barely.
Pre-time skip.
Barely.
That doesn't. But that's early.
Mihawk was chilling. Hey, Mihawk was cutting ships in half, having fun.
Odin sneezed in the mountain along with that giant pig was gone.
Listen,
you know what I'm trying to say?
Mihawk moves solo for a reason, because he can contend solo. Zoro does not survive even half a second against Kaido if he didn't train with Mihawk.
And I agree, but then it's also like, are you saying that Luffy can't be Rayleigh right now? I think he can.
I think Luffy can be Rayleigh, but that's because his Devil Fruit Awakening and all these things have put him on a level that definitely surpasses that of a, but Mihawk is not old and out of his prime. Mihawk is still young. Mihawk can still get busy. Who do you have at number 1, man?
I got the King of Beasts. Kaido is like, this is a day in the life. Oh, you're a cartoon character? Cool. Let's see what we can do here. Kaido has really put the stamp on, let me tell you something. I'm holding up Onigashima. I done tossed the worst generation around. Yamato trying to put in her work, still in the game. And now Gear 5, it's getting into its like almost peak. Kaido is still in the game like nothing is new. Don't kill yourself trying to surpass me with this Gear 5 nonsense, because you will accidentally do it. I don't see anything trumping what Kaido is showing us right now. You shouldn't have a solution for being jump roped.
I respect what you're saying, but I don't believe currently he's the strongest based on what he said, based on what Kaido has stated. Let me say this. We're in the year of Film Red. It's time. At number 1, I have Shanks as the strongest character currently in the One Piece world. It comes down to Kaido's importance on the haki, but it also comes down to Kaido having Shanks in his Fab Five. Kaido has fought against Shanks, or at least they've been in a confrontation, and Kaido clearly was stopped by Shanks on his way to Marineford. We know Kaido's not the person to really hold off on his ideals and what he wants to do. If Shanks was able to do that, that means that Shanks is on a level that is comparable to a Kaido or higher. I have him higher because of the haki, and this is the biggest thing. When we look at Shanks' sword, we look at his sword. His sword is not in the greatest shape. It's not in the greatest condition as a Mihawk. And he still is able to box with him. We know that he was able to clash weapons with Whitebeard, split the sky with a weaker weapon. Just him walking on the ship, you have people in the Whitebeard pirates dropping like flies. These are the same people that had to counter a Blackbeard in the Payback War at one point in time. Shanks is an elite fighter fighter in the One Piece world. I do think that him boxing with Mihawk speaks on Mihawk's greatness, which is why I happen to put Mihawk so high. This means to me that Shanks, I believe, is the best haki user currently in the One Piece world. He has no devil fruit and has gotten this far, putting on an elite show, having a crew that is very, very similar to the setup of a Roger. We see Roger, Rayleigh, Shanks, Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman happens to be in your top 10. Why is he in your top 10? Because you have high respect for him. Because just like you have respect for Rayleigh, and this is where I think Shanks is trying to model himself after a Goldie Roger. And this is the thing that I'm really trying to highlight. Shanks' haki has to be respected. He definitely has advanced conquers. He definitely has future sight. The fact that Kaido even puts him in his Fab Five, and he's the only person in Kaido's Fab Five right now that happens to be alive in the One Piece world, I think that Shanks can keep up with a Kaido, can possibly even defeat a Kaido. And because I have Kaido over Luffy, I also have to put Shanks over Luffy right now. I do think that Luffy will one day get up there, but Shanks' haki right now is a number one for me.
I agree with everything you said. I just think there can be a lot of loopholes and hearsay narratives about Shanks and the Fab Five. Like, for instance, I think Kaido's Fab Five was more of a tribute to people who he thought might be able to surpass him or made him stronger now today. So I think Luffy and Shanks go into the bottom half of that category. I think Rocks, Roger, and everybody else, they put the work on Kaido, and he was like, that's why I look at them like that.
But you guys let us know down in the comment section below who are your current top 10 One Piece characters right now, manga and all. And with that, we'll see you next time. Peace.